So today we'll be learning about modals, and as a warm-up for modals, we're going to talk about some things that you do during the day. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you go through and tell us the things that you do when you wake up and when you know, towards the middle of the day and then towards the end of the day. So Nicole, why don't you start us off? Tell us what you do during the day.
Wake up at about 2,
In the afternoon?
maybe,
Okay. Awesome.
and then I eat,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go back to bed and take a nap.
Now, I know it is finals around this time, but when you had classes, you had to go to those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, when were those?
Shut up.
Like, what times were those?
Like 9ish.
No, so you didn't wake up at 2 then?
No,
No, okay.
2's a recent development.
Well, what day was the 9 o'clock classes on?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, so describe a typical Monday then.
Okay. I wake up at about 8:40ish, hate myself, get dressed, go to class, come back, take an actual nap.
Hold on. So you wake up at 8:40.
Okay.
You know cleanse and
Lens.
you cleanse and then you go to class at 9, right? All right, and then class gets out at 10 o'clock. Okay, and then where do you go after that?
I go back and take a nap to my next class
You go back, and when is your next class?
at 1.
At 1 o'clock. All right, and then it's until 2, right? Okay, awesome. And then you stay in the lunchroom until about what time?
About 4.
Till about 4, and then what do you do after that?
Then I go to my lab,
Then you go to your lab. What lab is that?
my math lab.
Your math lab. Nice. All right. And then what happens next?
Then I go to government.
Then you go to government. And then what?
And then the evening is free.
And then you is free. Very good. Very good. So, those are examples of things that somebody would have to do throughout the day, and those could be rephrased in different ways. So, like for example, Nicole, you could say that on Mondays, you could wake up at 5 in the morning, right? You could,
Theoretically,
right?
yeah.
But you should wake up at about, like 8:40, you said? In order to get to class on time, right?
Yeah.
And you should arrive at class at around 9 o'clock. And after which you can go back to your room and take a nap. You don't have to, right?
No.
You could study or do other productive things. But, you know,
Thanks.
sleep is important, I suppose. Now, those words are examples of modals. Things like can, could, might, and should. Now, these things can be applied in a sentence in order to express some quality of a sentence. Like it typically means, you know, it gives it some sort of either definite property or like an indefinite property. You could say that you should or you could do something, which gives it a sort of indefinite. Or you could say something like must or what's another one that gives it more, or like should. You know, something that's more definite, like something that gives it a lot more like urgency. And these are various things that you can use. They aren't really adjectives. They aren't really necessarily verbs. They just sort of fit in the sentence by themselves. So, like for example, during my day, during a typical Monday for me, I could wake up around 8 o'clock, but seeing as my first class on Monday is at 1 in the afternoon, I should wake up around 10-ish. I get to sleep in those extra hours. So if you look in front of you, you'll see the activity that we're doing today. And on this activity, you have the list of modals that I've just described: can, could, might, and should. And I'll go through each one and explain sort of what their individual meaning is. And then you'll complete the activity. And the instructions for the activity are at the top of the paper. So for can, this is describing something that you have the ability to do. It's not something that you necessarily have to do. It doesn't even imply any sort of like option. That's more like could. Can is just more like I can, Nicole can go home every day if she wants to. You live rather close, right? Yeah, this is the time in which you can complete the activity. So go ahead and do it, and then after you're done, we'll talk about it. All right. I don't know why I flipped to this page. So all of you guys are done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and present our findings to the class. We're just going to do one for each. So pick your best one and go read it to all your friends.
Like from each box, or just one from out of all of them?
No, one from each box.
Okay,
we'll start over here and we'll do one from each, and,
Alright.
and we'll talk about them. So, what's your first one?
So, I can eat breakfast.
You can eat breakfast.
It
Okay.
is an option.
I can sleep in.
You can sleep in.
I can take a nap.
You can take a nap. All right. What about for could?
I said that I could go and watch videos on my computer.
You could.
I said that I could go to Garrett's room.
You could go to Garrison.
I said I could go find a campus cat.
You could go find a campus cat. Could you really? Do you know where they hide? Okay.
Sewers.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. And what about might?
I said that I might go to Alex.
You might go to Alex.
I said that I might floss.
You might floss.
I might go play Smash.
I might go play Smash. I'm proud of you for caring about your dental
No, I
hygiene
mean like
that.
the dance.
No, it's dental hygiene. Should. Yeah?
I should eat dinner.
You should eat dinner.
I should call my girlfriend.
You should call your girlfriend.
I should call my parents.
You should call your parents. Alright guys, so that's pretty good. And you guys did well in the lesson. I didn't see any or hear any obvious mistakes. So you guys seem to understand modals pretty well. An interesting topic that I just want to add on the follow-up is that in some dialects of English, typically, or most dialects of English, you can only have one modal, one of these kinds of modals. And in others, particularly in southern dialects, you can actually have two kinds of modals, which is an interesting addition. So you could say things like might could or might should, like I might could go to the lake this weekend. Okay. So, I see that you all returned to class.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't drive any of you away.
Nah, dog.
No, dog? Okay.
Sorry.
Well, in this next lesson, we will be going over some more modals, a few more, and these modals use two words. So explaining what these various modals mean, have to is like should, but more definite. So I talked to you about like sort of indefinite, sort of vague modals, and then definite modals. Have to describes something. It's hard to say it without saying have to, but it's something that you're required to do. It's like an obligation. It's not something you have the option. In the last lesson, we had a lot of modals that described optional behavior: can, could, might. Actually, all of those are optional behaviors, but in this one we have our first modal that describes something that is not optional. Ought to is a is another modal. It has the exact same form as should. It's just a different way to say it. So you could say, I should do this, I should do that. You replace that with ought to, and then might not is another thing that is like it's like might actually. We used might in the last one, but in this one we're using might not. So it's a negative modal. This is one that describes something that you might not do, or not might not do, that you probably won't do. You know, something that you would probably say no to, something you'd probably decline. So yeah, there's that. Those are the three modals that we'll be using today, and in front of you are the activities that we'll be using in order to describe those. Now, you'll see the instructions. What you'll be doing is you'll be filling in some blanks. And actually this time you get to work in groups. It is an individual like the last one was. I know it was very difficult working alone, but now you get the benefit of your peers. So in this one you'll be taking the three different modal forms and you'll be filling in the blanks with what you think might be in there. Now, those modals might be used more than once, and there might be different options for each blank, but just put what you think fits best in there, and then once you're done, we will go over them as a class. We'll go over all of them as a class, all 8 that you have on that sheet right there. Anyway, so all you guys are done with the lesson for today, so we'll go over and talk about them. So what did you guys, if you could read all of each sentence when we go over it. So we'll start with Nicole and we'll go this way. So what did you get for number 2?
I got, because I didn't study, I might not do well on the test.
Alright, you might not do well on the test. And why'd you put might not there?
Because, I mean, there might be a chance that I do know some of the material, but if I didn't study, there's probably a good chance that I won't.
Okay. What about number 3? You?
I put you ought to eat or else you'll be too tired to work.
Okay, sure. And there was the disagreement about that, but Garrett, you put something different for that one, right?
Yeah, I put have to eat.
You have to eat, ought to eat. In the context, you could probably say either. You could make an argument for both. On my sheet, I put have to eat, but you know, it's and the reason I put that is because like the consequence, you know, like if you don't eat, then you will be tired for work. So you have to eat to not be tired for work. But that's just my opinion. I think it could, like I said, there are multiple options for most of these, so I think that one's a fine one as well. So what'd you put for 4?
For 4, I said that Tom might not want to go to the movies.
Okay. So you guys seem to understand the new modals fairly well. If there are no questions about these modals, then for our last follow-up for this lesson, what we'll do is I'll give you a little minute to try to write one sentence, but a compound sentence with 2 modals in it. So within the sentence, I want you to try to get 2 modals inside of it. So I'll give you a little while to think right now. You can write it below number 9. Just try to think of something, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. What you put?
My sentence is, I ought to not play games tonight, or else I might not have time to study.
Okay, cool. So, but yeah, that's good. What'd you get for it?
I put I ought to call my girlfriend or she might leave me.
That is
There's
true.
a sad face on it.
There is a sad face because I would be alone and I love her so much.
Alright, and what did you put, Garrett?
I have to eat today, but it might not be in Connection Cafe.
Okay, that's a good one. Alright, well, you guys
That's like on the other side of campus from you.
you guys seem to understand the use of modals fairly well, and I'm glad you came to the class.